Pick up your copy of The Son of Man Speaks magazine today. With The Son of Man Speaks magazine, you'll receive automotive tips, wholesome recipes, financial advice, and most importantly, a true understanding of the Word of God. Get your copy of The Son of Man Speaks from these select locations. Sisters, Braid 2, 18070 Mount Elliott. The Shell Gas Station, 13110 West 7 Mile Road. To get a subscription, call 601-786-9788. That's 601-786-9788. The Son of Man Speaks magazine, dedicated to becoming free indeed.
Attention, brothers and sisters, viewers and listeners, now available. Your Son of Man Speaks magazine digital subscription. Your digital subscription to the Son of Man Speaks magazine will also include our monthly e-newsletter, both delivered to your inbox. If you have any questions regarding the digital magazine subscription or digital newsletter, you may send an email to shabazprinting@thenewnationofislam.com. That's shabazprinting@thenewnationofislam.com. Or call 1-601-786-9788. That's 1-601-786-9788. You can also subscribe online. Visit www.thenewnationofislam.com and click on the magazine tab to register for your online subscription.
We would like to invite you to help support the efforts of the Unity and Rebuilding Fund. Visit the website at www.unityandrebuildingfund.com. That's www.unityandrebuildingfund.com. We often hear how we need to work together to rebuild the city, and we're actually doing it. You can make online donations and click on links to track the progress of the Unity and Rebuilding Fund. And for more information, 313-868-0000 is a local number. Again, 313-868-0000. Support the Unity and Rebuilding Fund.
To make your online tithes, offerings, donations, gifts to the Son of Man through Cash App, make your payment to $New Nation of Islam. That's $New Nation of Islam. Or call 601-786-7056. 601-786-7056.
I just used your other one though today because it was, look, it did 2 drips and I was like, oh, I can use my umbrella. My homegirl was talking about it. I'm like, don't talk about it.
With our umbrellas, our customers are turning a drab day into a fab day. After all, representation matters. In other words, rain or shine, we've got you covered. Introducing Designs by Deej, your one-stop gift shop for all things handmade and unique. Our products range from our most popular umbrellas, blanket and pillow sets, handmade coasters, and other statement pieces that showcase the beauty of our melanin and natural hair in a beautiful and empowering way. You can find our brand at the sister shop locations in New Jersey and Atlanta, Georgia, or you can visit our website, www.designsbydeej.com. Again, that's www.designsbydeej.com.
SOS Graphic Design provides agency-quality professional graphic design services from established companies to startups and individuals, creating a simple logo to complete rebranding and delivering visual communication with print media. Everything SOS Graphic Design does has a single unifying objective: to set your business apart. We are at your service. Call 313-342-2166. That's 313-342-2166 or online at www.sosgraphicdesigns.com.
Are your clothes coming apart at the seams? Universal Seamstress and Tailoring has got you covered. At Universal Seamstress and Tailoring, we specialize in a wide variety of alterations and transformations to make and keep your clothes looking and fitting their best. From hem jobs to downsizing suits and dresses for a perfect fit to replacing zippers and buttons, Universal Seamstress and Tailoring is your one-stop shop for clothing maintenance. Also, do you have a logo for your clothes you'd like to wear? Universal Seamstress and Tailoring can put it there. That's right. At Universal Seamstress and Tailoring, we not only do alterations, but embroidery as well. Shirts, pants, coats, hats, even bags. If you can wear it, we can embroider it. So remember, whether it be alterations or embroidering you need, Universal Seamstress and Tailoring has got you covered. Universal Seamstress and Tailoring is located at 1404 Main Street, Fayette, Mississippi. Come and see us or give us a call at 601-786-0540.
Yearround Landscaping has been serving Metro Detroit for over 20 years, offering various landscaping, lawn care, property maintenance, and home renovation. Our professionalism has earned us an outstanding reputation, while our creativity, integrity, and dependability have kept our clients returning and referring us to others. At Yearround Landscaping, we prioritize quality customer service. We treat every client as our only client before, during, and after providing our services. We believe in building solid relationships with our clients and ensuring their satisfaction. Whether you need a complete outdoor makeover, indoor renovation, or routine maintenance, we have the expertise and resources to deliver outstanding results. Our team is committed to providing exceptional service and completing every project to the highest standard. To schedule an estimate or consultation, please call us at 248-843-6139 or visit our website at yearroundlandscaping.net.
Year-round landscaping. One source, unlimited resources.
For elite carpet, floor, and upholstery cleaning, call Supreme Steam Cleaning. For pressure washing on your house and driveway, call Supreme Steam Cleaning. Flooding in your house or building, Supreme Steam Cleaning's got you covered with our emergency water extraction services. Transform the rooms in your home with floor installation, repairs, and more. Give us a call today at 601-720-5138. That's 601-720-5138. Visit our website, www.supremesteamclean.com, and follow us on social media at Supreme Steam Cleaning. When you need an elite team, call Supreme.
For all facets of professional hair care and braiding, come to Sisters Braid 2, located at 18070 Mount Elliott in Detroit. We specialize in braiding and natural styles, knotless box braids, feed-in braids, scaled twists for men, women, and children. We specialize in all facets of healthy hair. Try our natural oils to keep your hair healthy. 313-826-0498 or 248-372-1738.
Murray, out of the pocket. 7 seconds. 6 seconds. Murray, he's the downfield. Oh, man, the power's out again.
You have reached Quality Construction and Engineering, your #1 emergency generator source.
Power outages can be unpredictable, inconvenient, and disruptive to your life. With a backup generator, your life goes on uninterrupted with power when you need it. Not to mention the peace of mind of having your property suited to weather the storm.
Whoever would have thought in Houston, Texas, that we would have an ice storm? It did happen, and that Sunday night when it came in, I got up and looked out the front door. Everything was pitch black. It was horrible. Something out of a novel or a science book that you had never seen before. Once the lights went out, my generator popped on. It ran 55 hours. The only one had lights.
Get your backup generator installed with Quality Construction. We install both residential and commercial generators, so you're always covered. Schedule your consultation with us by calling 1-855-876-9370. That's 1-855-876-9370. Or visit us online at www.powerqec.com. That's www.powerqec.com. Financing is available with low monthly payments and 0% interest for 18 months.
That was the best investment that we could have ever made. That's my backup, the generator.
Generators with Quality Construction, built tough enough to weather the storm.
Capital Area Planning Services offers a variety of services catered to your land development needs. We offer landscape design, residential design, land planning, mapping and consulting services, and more. We have over 20 years of design and land planning experience. CAPS LLC offers services to developers, builders, architects, surveyors, contractors, government agencies, and private landowners. Feel free to contact us to find out which services are available in your area. You may reach us at 601-326-2966. That's 601-326-2966. You can also visit us on the web at www.capsllconline.com. Let us put on our thinking caps to serve your land development needs.
The views and opinions expressed on the following show are not necessarily the views and opinions of WHPS, its affiliates, management, or sponsors.
Brothers and sisters, are you tired of reading the Holy Scripture and not really understanding what you read? And if you're reasonably sure, have you ever tested that what you feel you know with someone that has a different view than your own? Then let's talk with one another. Then let's reason with one another on a Scriptural Discussion with the Son of Man every Wednesday at 9 p.m., Friday at 9 p.m., and Sunday at 12 noon on WHPR TV Detroit Live, 88.1 FM WHPR, and Comcast Cable. Why don't you call and discuss the Holy Bible, and if you have one, the Holy Quran, and come to an agreement about the Holy Scriptures and their true meaning? You can call in live on the air at area code 313-868-4336, 313-868-0342, or 313-868-0351. That's 313-868-4336, 313-868-0342, or 313-868-0351. And now, let's go live with a Scriptural Discussion with the Son of Man.
In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Most Merciful, the Truthful, and the Most Just. Who is that? I greet all of you who are hungry and thirsty for the true understanding of the Word of God and for the truth in general. Who's that? I greet you all with the greeting words of peace. May Allah's Salam alaikum. I want to give those who have disagreements with us or questions I want to give you the opportunity at this time, before we open up a subject matter, to get that out the way. Did we have anyone?
Nobody typed anything, sir.
All right. Now, as I was telling you so many times, I have repeated this, that I don't live in a bubble. I'm not living in a I remember people used to try to refer to where we live as a compound, and I had to straighten that out. You know, it's sad that people don't know the difference in a neighborhood and a compound. But anyway, they try to, I knew where that came from. They came from associating their idea of what we are with what they call them Branch Davidians and Jim Jones and all of them. My followers are not automatons. My followers are thinking human beings. That's why I have so few. Because most people in this world, they don't think. They just follow the crowd. And I've never been a crowd follower. And so naturally, the conversations and the trend of thought that I bring forth is not a train of thought that you get from crowds. It requires personal reflection. It requires personal thought. And most people are so lazy they would care not to have to think. Just you know, just let what's going to happen, let it happen, and you know, I'll go with the flow. And that is the sad part about that is that's not actually how we got here. Every human being that's on this earth that was conceived outside of in vitro fertilization didn't get here by following the crowd. They got here by going a different route than what the crowd was taking. Do you understand? So it's not that it's not in you to take the uphill road. It's just that some people just refuse to do that. You decide to take the path of least resistance. That's why oftentimes you mistake a bully for a brave man. But a bully is a coward, actually. Because people who don't stand up to bullies are taking the path of least resistance. You see. You know. But when you stand up to someone who is attempting to persuade you by frightening you rather than by reasoning with you, then that person, if you knuckle under, That's how you wind up. That's how youngsters wind up in gangs and whatnot. Not because they wanted to be in there. They was afraid not to join it. Do you understand? And, just like they was talking about Hope Hicks and trying to get inside her head while she started crying on the stand. If I had been looking up to somebody who wasn't worth looking up to, and I found that out, and then I had to tell on them and myself too, I wouldn't be crying because I was having to testify again. I'd be crying because I know you see that I ain't as smart as I should have been. Do you understand? You don't let tears have many reasons for being shed. If she felt that strongly about friendship for him, she wouldn't have been in there testifying. He ruined that friendship when she found out it was misplaced. And she told the truth on herself, what hand she had in it. Do you understand? And it's nothing wrong. As they say, it's nothing wrong with getting knocked down. There's something wrong if you don't try to get up. Huh? Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Donald Trump fooled the American people once and got elected. He tried to fool them again for a second term and he got fooled. They didn't elect him. And that's one of the reasons why I stand up now with hope that the people unspoke in 2020 that they don't want him no more. Now, if they let him back in there, you think I'm going to still be standing up here trying to convince you to not, Because what that tells me is you through with truth. And if you through with truth, you through with me. And I'm through with you. So you go and put him back in there. They got a saying, he who laughs last, laughs best. I was thinking about Lawrence O'Donnell, and I could imagine, how Donald Trump feels about him, because Lawrence O'Donnell, he's a truth teller, and people like Donald Trump do not frighten him. And he's you can kind of tell something about people if you be around them long enough. He never was fooled by Donald Trump. He and I are on the same page. And it's just like I was thinking about Minister Farrakhan. I used to love to hear him teach, because the only thing I knew about him was when he was standing up teaching. But you find out more about a person when you see what kind of company they keep too. You see, and when he did all of that talking about his, about the messenger, and that I know he the messenger, and I know this, and that's all you used to hear coming from him. Next thing you know, in 1975, he up there telling people that the messenger chose W.D. Muhammad to sit down. And the messenger had already told them he don't do that. They knew it. But they know a lot of us didn't know it. So, and he, I remember Minister Abdul Kareem, he did a different thing. He said, we are living in a great and a dreadful day. It is a great day if you understand what's taking place here today, and it's a dreadful day if you don't. And he left it just like that. And that's the way he used to, he used to give hints. And I know why that was done, because certain things was going to have to happen. But that was sufficient for me to know I was on the right track, because I wasn't finna go pledging myself to nobody. But anyway, and when I saw him stand up there crying, talking about this was a day of joy and not a day of, sorrow and that kind of thing. Here we done just lost the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and you talking about we don't grieve. What's wrong with these people? I mean, there's that's to suggest to someone they should not grieve over the loss of a man like the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. You out of your mind. If we wasn't meant to grieve over anything, Allah wouldn't have put it in the human nature to be able to have grief. You know what the scriptures say about grieving? What's another word for grieving? Huh? Yeah, what's another word for sorrow? Who said mourn? Blessed are they that mourn, for they shall be comforted. What comes to your mind when someone is mourning? Thinking about somebody who passed away. All the prophets passed away, and we should be mourning all of them, because they left something behind that we know is from them. If for no other reason, nobody understands it. I think that's something to mourn over. Well then, when the Comforter is come, even the Spirit of truth, then you shall be brought into understanding, and you shall be comforted. And that's why the scripture says, blessed are they that mourn, for they shall be comforted. That's why you don't hear me ever using I don't think you've ever heard me say to one of you, good morning. I don't use that terminology, because there's nothing good about mourning. It is something that you don't wish people. I know it's another morning they talking about in the beginning of a day, but I just can't associate good with morning. Even at the beginning of the day, it's a nice day, but there's a lot of work got to be done before it's good. So your work just beginning. The better is the end of the day than the beginning of it. I can say good evening, but I don't say no good morning. I got too much work to do. But anyway, so I mean, I think about things before I start just repeating them, And so I was thinking about Lawrence O'Donnell, something I recorded from him last night, and
Well, at 4:26 p.m. today, Maggie Haberman posted this to the New York Times live update of the Trump trial, reporting from inside the courtroom. Trump left the courtroom squinting strangely at Lawrence O'Donnell, the MSNBC host, as he did. Adam Klasfeld, who has been in the courtroom for us every day, reported that same moment this way. As he exits, Trump turns his head directly at Lawrence, glowers, and mutters under his breath, "I was sitting right next to him."
Now, when you squint at somebody, that's and looking directly at them, generally that's not because you pleased with them or nothing. It's because you mad at them. Because Lawrence O'Donnell, his reporting is accurate. His reporting is truthful, and Donald Trump knows it. Lawrence O'Donnell don't play the game of good cop, bad cop. It happens on both sides. He just tells you what's happening. Do you understand? Like other people, they try to get on there and try to look like they've given some balanced report. That's not the job of news reporting. News reporting is to report what's happening. If the Republicans are acting a fool, say they're acting a fool. Don't try to suggest that it's happening on both sides, because it ain't. And to show you, I'm neither a Republican nor a Democrat. I'm a Muslim. And when I vote for who I think has the best that I can trust to do what they say they're going to try to do. Even though they say they're going to do it, I know that one person can't do that. And if that one person thinks he can, he'll find out you can't do that by yourself. Do you understand? It's always going to, when a man is running for president, he says he will get this done or that done. The only way he can get this or that done is you have to, if it's a chance to give him a majority House and a majority Senate, then he can say he gonna get that done, and because you know that it's with the help of the House and the Senate. Do you understand? And so that's what when I voted for John McCain, it's because I honestly believed that John McCain, I knew that from his history that he was pretty much a straight shooter. Do you understand? Where I didn't know nothing about Barack Obama. He just came out of nowhere. How many of y'all knew something about him? Well, what I look like voting for him for president? I told you, people follow crowds. People follow fads. It's just so happened that was one crowd that was right. Do you understand? And so, sometimes walking to the beat of a different drummer is the wrong thing. And just like I had judged him by how many failed black leaders we've had, and I judged him by the odds. And I was glad I was wrong. And the second time I voted for him. And just like Joe Biden, I was wrong about him, because I didn't want neither one of them. I said, here you got a white man stand up talking about he see Barack Obama as he do any white man. I said, no. So then come to find out that Joe Biden is he could have been just as easily a black man as he could a white man. It's like, you talk to, I met some some white boys when I was in the Marine Corps that if you hadn't known they was white, you thought they was black, because you could relate. They were very easy to relate to, and so I just learned a lot about people, even when I wasn't trying to. And so when the messenger, when I heard his teachings, then I started to refine what I knew about people. He gave me a means of refining it, because I seen some low down white people, and it always was a question in most of our minds: what we do to them? Why they do it? Why do us like this? They the devil. That answered it. That answered it for me. And then I, even those who had been kind to me, I started thinking they had ulterior motives. Do you understand? And which is wrong to do. But later on, he straightened me out on that. He reminded me. He said, he said, there are white Muslims in America. He had never really talked about that. And once he said that, he said, and don't go blaming them for what you put in them. Blame yourself for putting it in them. Because we was boasting that we made them. See, well, you can't on the one hand boast that you made a thing and then blame the thing for being and doing what you made him to do. Who's to blame? Remember that sympathy for the devil? Most people didn't understand why it was called sympathy for the devil. At first, I thought it was symphony for the devil. Do you understand? I say, he must have made a mistake there. But it's sympathy for the devil. And at the end, he says, you're to blame. You're to blame. Well, that's for, Mick Jagger and them wasn't stupid, man. So, but anyway. So I, that's what I tell you all, that my fathers told me. Men take responsibility for what they to blame for. Huh? Yeah. So, that's in my nature, to not let you take the blame for what I set in motion. Because if I hadn't set it in motion, you wouldn't have reacted like you did. Do you understand? So I have to take the blame for my part. And so I encourage all men and women to do that. And I guarantee you, when you start putting the right judgment on yourself, then what you say about others will carry a lot more weight. Okay, y'all hold on a minute.
Attendees in this conference, your host is joined.
Look, I want to say to those of you,
conference muted.
Those of you who are in the conference room, if and when the call drops, don't hang up. We're gonna change carriers after a while, because AT&T, we just changed to this thing that they was all but twisting your arm to get on. And now we ain't got but one line that we're using for conference calls, and it's dropping calls. So now we got alternatives that we can go to. And that contract was for service, not for intermittent service. So I want you to call them and read Facts of Life to them. I'm not going to pay for service I'm not getting. There are other companies that offer the same service for less money. So anyway, what was I saying before that rude interruption? Beg your pardon? Yeah, you know, we have to take blame for what we do. You know, and that's what all adults have to learn. Stop making excuses and for something that you did and thinking that it can be excused. You take the blame for it and don't let it happen again. Am I clear? All right. Now, let's get back to Lawrence. And Lawrence was reading what Donald Trump's reaction was when he looked out there and saw Lawrence.
He's right next to me. It was my first time in the Trump trial courtroom, and it seems Donald Trump wasn't really pleased to see me. That's a shot of me. It looks like I'm very far behind Donald Trump, but I'm actually in the first row that's available to the press. And visually, there was just nothing between Donald Trump and me when I was sitting in that row. And later in the afternoon, I was sitting in an even better spot in that row. And I have my interpretation of what Donald Trump's face and eyes were trying to say to me and what drove him to create a final moment in the courtroom today that was worthy of New York Times reporting. Donald Trump's political advisor and handyman, Boris Epstein, was there sitting in the front row reserved for the Trump family members who did not show up once again. Boris Epstein was sitting right in front of me and knew I was there. He should have told Donald Trump, when you walk by O'Donnell, don't give him the satisfaction of making a moment about him. But defendants like Donald Trump always make mistakes in courtrooms. And mistakes are what has landed Donald Trump in criminal courtrooms. Manhattan's criminal courtroom 1530 is a room of broken lives. Like all criminal courtrooms, it has seen an endless parade of the broken lives lived by the people who have made the worst mistake in their lives that leaves them sitting in the defendant's chair in that courtroom. Other than the falsely accused, very bad mistakes, often a series of bad mistakes, lead to criminal courtrooms. Donald Trump was not the only broken life in that room on display today. The broken man sitting beside him at the defense table rose once again to defend the indefensible. Everyone in New York legal circles, including people I respect the most, have at one point or another told me that Todd Blanche is an excellent lawyer. Some of the people who told me that months ago have switched to the past tense. Was an excellent lawyer. Before he sold his professional soul to Donald Trump, Todd Blanche was a much respected, highly paid partner in a prestigious Manhattan law firm after serving as a federal prosecutor and acquiring valuable trial skills. He could have stayed in that partnership in that law firm for the rest of his professional life. He could have been well regarded for the rest of his professional life. Instead, to take on Donald Trump as a client. He had to quit his law firm because the law firm wanted no association with Donald Trump. And having quit his law firm, he moved with his family to Florida to become a full-time Trump defense lawyer, working for exactly one client. There is no good story in the history of jurisprudence about a criminal defense lawyer who decides to work for only one client. A client who has enough criminal legal business to keep that lawyer employed for years and years and years. Even mafia lawyers have had many other clients not in organized crime. In Criminal Courtroom 1530, Todd Blanche last week suffered the ultimate professional humiliation when Judge Juan Merchan said to him, "You are losing all credibility with the court." And as I said at the time, you can spend a lifetime in courtrooms and never hear a judge say that to a good lawyer. Never. Today's court session began with what was scheduled as a half-hour hearing about Donald Trump's latest violations of the judge's gag order.
And what that judge said to him, that's what I said about Minister Farrakhan. There was a time when I would have, any place where he was speaking, I would have been glad to be the first one in the door. Because I really thought his heart was in his words. That's the one thing that con men have, is that they can convince you that they really mean what they are saying to you. And generally what they are saying to you is what you love to hear. And that's the hook. And once they win your trust, then if someone come to you and tell you something bad about them, first thing you're going to do is defend them and tell people, I don't want to hear that. I know them, and they don't roll like that. And they know that. And they use that to milk you dry. Do you understand? Don't just they got another saying in this world, that you would do wise to not just let it fly out your mouth, but remember and listen to what you're saying. For I've heard many people say this. Your actions speak so loud that it's drowning out what you're trying to say. Huh? You know, you can't just say the good stuff while you're doing just the opposite of what you're saying. No. That you know, when you take part, just like Todd Blanche, I don't know him. You all hold on. You all pardon me a moment. As I was listening to Lawrence, I always, it's refreshing to me to hear people just tell the truth. When you take part in any unjust act, it's like Todd Blanche. I don't know him, but I have 4 years of history or more since, actually, it started when Barack Obama was president. I got a glimpse of Donald Trump. And as that glimpse turned into a study of Donald Trump. And the more I studied him and the way he conducted himself, the less respect I had for him as a man. And so a man like him attracts other men and women of like minds as him. I don't care how you spin it. It is the true saying. You're known by the company you keep. Good people attract good people. If you see a lot of bad people around a good person, it is, understand, like, a good person is like a magnet, like the sun. There's planets orbiting the sun that don't have life forms like us on it, but they locked in the orbit of the sun, but they ain't in the orbit that the earth is in. Do you understand? Likewise, there was people in the nation that the messenger warned us were hypocrites. You make sure you're keeping your eye on the conference room. We want this to be the last time this happens, because we entered into a contract with these people. They've broken that contract now. See, so now we can ask the. We still in there? Okay. I didn't hear you.
Conference recording started.
Okay. And that's what they really want to try to do, make you not be able to have your recording. I tell you what, I want y'all to start. I know you're probably not set up for it tonight, but I want you to start recording our classes independently of that. And course, it's still on YouTube. We can re-upload it. Yes. Okay. But when you take part, it's just like when a person rob a bank. It don't make no difference how many people went in the bank to rob it. If you was out there watching out, if you was the getaway driver, if you had anything to do with it, you are guilty of being an accessory to it. You are involved in it. Do you understand? And they want you to when they go to arresting them. Huh? Just remember, you hook your wagon to Donald Trump. You connected to every evil and corrupt thing that he did. You just remember that. You see, they still arresting a lot of them people that was at. They want every one of them. And they need to get every one of them. You can't win the election fair, so you decide you want to steal it, huh? So, but anyway, you know, that's the law of God. Whoever takes part in an evil act has a share in it. You got a share in the punishment for it. Well, you better be careful who you hook up with. As the messenger, he warned us. The kingdom of heaven, Jesus warned us. The kingdom of heaven is like unto a great net that men cast into the sea and drew in of what? Every kind of person. But when they got it safely to shore, they picked out the good and cast the bad away. Huh? All right. Well, the messengers of God, they left it in there and put it in, mess around with Jesus' words when he said, "Have not I chosen you 12 and one of you is a devil?" No, every one of you is a devil. Yes. They proved it when all of them ran out on him. Huh? The Honorable Elijah Muhammad, he told them to their face that one day the nation going to go down to almost nothing. And they was the ones that was supposed to be upholding everything. But he told them it was going to go down to almost nothing. Why? Because he told them again, before they start sharing that, he said, if Allah take me away, you couldn't carry on. That's what he told them. So, and he said the nation is honeycombed with hypocrites. Is there any Muslims other than righteous? You can't just say you a believer. What do your actions and your deeds say? Yeah. See, you can lie to everybody else, but when you look in the mirror, you know the truth. Aren't they? Yeah. So man is sufficient as a witness against himself. If somebody accuses you of something wrongly, how does that sit with you? You get mad, don't you? Because people get mad when you accuse them of something rightly. I didn't hear you. But it's easy to determine righteous indignation from unrighteous indignation by testimony. Donald Trump should have been dying to take the stand. And every one of them people that was accusing him, he should have been dying to get on that stand and challenge them. Not sitting down with his head back and his eyes closed. That's the way you do when you can't think of nothing and you see the things closing in on you. Body language is something. So, just like if he's innocent of what the government is accusing him of with them papers, if he really don't feel he did nothing wrong, why he don't get on the stand? Why don't he face his accuser? When people accuse you of things that you're not guilty of, you wanna face them and you wanna get it over with. So, and all these people that's supporting him, they know that. They know it. It's just like when they was saying, lynch that nigger. That nigger raped a white woman. They knew they was lying. They knew it. It ain't never been a black man hung or body riddled with bullets in this country after being accused of something by white folks in the way of raping a woman, raping a white woman, and that kind of thing. Ain't now one of them was ever justified. Not one. Even if it had happened, there was no. When white men rape women, they don't lynch them. They throw them in jail. I didn't hear you. Now they even saying if he rape a woman and she get pregnant, the woman got to have the baby. Is that not sanctioning rape? Emmett Till got murdered and brutally, his body just brutalized. Well, they said he whistled at a white woman. Man ain't care nothing about the white woman. He was always, from time to time, he would come up and say it's time to teach the niggas a lesson. And so he'd choose one and take him out there and make the rest of us watch while he brutally murdered him and teaching us a lesson. As he say, he's putting the fear of God in you. And then he gave you God's picture. Where you think they get the term, you frightened to be Jesus out of me? Nobody ever told you what that meant but me. White man walking down the street and they ask, hey, you want to be Jesus? Come here. And I'll pay you so much. And then they dress him up and whatnot and take his picture, and they pay him off, and then they go take the picture and reproduce it and put it in Walmarts and different places and make money off of it. Say, here's the Jesus. And guess who go up there buying it? Come on. Yeah. You know your mama and your grandmama and them had all them white man pictures in their house. Talking about this Jesus and the Last Supper. Yeah, but when a white man said, you frightened to be Jesus out of me, see, now I done frightened to be Jesus out of him now. And don't know I'm want to be talking about they Jesus now. Why? Because the Lord himself, Jesus is Lord, is here. So, Jesus told you that the Son of Man was his Lord. He said the Son of Man is Lord of the Sabbath day. If I wasn't the Lord, how am I knowing all of these things? Why do I know these things and ain't none of them arguing with me? Now, they won't listen to me, but they'll listen to this man that's up there telling them that 0 times 1 is 1. Now, I mean, really. And 1 times 1 is 2. Well, didn't you say multiplication is a shortcut to addition? Well, then 1 plus 1 is 2. Then 1 times 1 is 2. See what happens when you get so steeped in lies that you start questioning truth and trying to say there's something wrong with the truth? See? Math is a matter of communication. If you don't understand what is being communicated to you, you may think 1 times 1 is 2, the same as 1 plus 1. You may think that. And you can, and 1 times 3 may be 4. And that may, you may think that because you knew the truth, but you threw it away. And once you throw the truth away, there ain't nothing to reconvert you with. That's like a person looking for a substitute for oxygen. There ain't no substitute for oxygen. You stop breathing oxygen, you die. Okay. Keep thinking you can do it with helium. Go ahead. Get yourself a room full of helium and just go to it. You sound like Dr. Yakadoodle, and then you're dead. Do you understand? But anyway, let's see here. I don't like. You know how long I've been with AT&T? Ever since I moved to Mississippi. Since 81. See what they think of their customers? Hell, you ain't got to like what I'm teaching. I know you listening. You ain't got to like it, but I'm paying you for these services. And I'm not going to beg you to keep taking my money. I know how to go someplace else. And then I'm going to start telling everybody else to drop you. Dropping my calls. Well, anyway, Look, I don't start stuff with people. You mistreat me, and then I'm wrong for fussing about it? What is it, son?
Yes, sir. We have a question from someone, Joe in Dina, and she says.
Joe what?
It's spelled Ndinda.
Ndi?
Yes, sir.
Nadina?
Yes, sir.
Okay, what is it?
She says, is this the Nation of Islam that ministers in OI?
You're talking with the Son of Man, and this is the new Nation of Islam that you're listening. You are listening to me say I'm building. There ain't never been a Nation of Islam, and there has been that which was said to be Nation of Islam, but it was not. And as the messenger put that in the lessons, he said, "What is the birth record of the said Nation of Islam?" And he said, the said Nation of Islam has no birth record. It has no beginning nor ending. Well, I am the beginning and the ending. And I am the one to build the new Nation of Islam. So, was there something else? Did you send her the number where she could call in and talk to me?
No, sir. I'll send it to her right now.
Okay. So, you know, if you knew what the term Nation of Islam meant, you would know that there ain't never been no Nation of Islam. Nation of Islam means a nation that submits entirely to do the will of God. Well, how you going to be saying you doing the will of God before God show up? And the scripture says, know ye that the Lord, he is God. Well, then, before the coming of the great and dreadful day of the Lord, it said, behold, I will send you Elijah, the prophet, before the coming of the great and dreadful day of the Lord. So what you thought was Nation of Islam was not Nation of Islam. It was the said Nation of Islam, because it was the foundation upon which the Lord, when I got here, I would build on that foundation. I mean, so if you want to be technical, if you went out there when they was first putting up Walmart or first putting up any of these malls or whatever, when you saw the foundation of it, it said the soon to be, or this is the site of the mall. But it ain't no mall yet, it's just a foundation. So, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad laid the foundation for me. And as he showed people, he told people, let me see here. Let me see if I got it any place. I would think that I would. But, you know, I have so much that I've had to go back and open that one. You all excuse me. I'm always, I try to remember to put, key words. Just a moment. there either. So what I'm going to do is, when I go back to work out there again, see, I listen to the teachings while I'm working. And when I hear what I'm looking for, I'll I don't guess just be patient with me here. I'm making sure I don't have it right now, but later on I will have it for you and let you hear it. But it's other things that I have that the messenger, he told people that nobody was coming behind him but God. And you have to remember that. And then you ask all of these people, are you God? Ask them. I'm the only one that'll say yes. And then because you don't understand what God means, that offends you. I wouldn't say it if I didn't know what I was saying. You see how I have dominion over the whole world? You hear anybody arguing with me? You hear anybody say I'm wrong about something? Who else do you know of other than God that can't nobody condemn? Who? Well, I don't care. You can get upset or you can get happy. Don't make me no difference, because it ain't going to change who I am. Those who expected not the meeting with us and are pleased with this world. Who is us? The Son of Man and all the holy angels with him. You might forget. I didn't. I'm the one that better not forget. Everybody else might forget. If I forget, then somebody might ask me, well, who is this us and whatnot? Then what I'm supposed to say? Because they don't see no us up here. But when you got in my class, you found out who us is. Because all them books you got, that's us. Me and the Word of God. And the Word agreed with God. You see? So the messenger, he told him.
Look back again at the time. If the Bible teaches you that the devil will have the power of the people to rule them until God come and destroy him. This is true. And that God prepared hell for him and the day that he will leave. Think over that. Before ever the man was made, hell was prepared for him. Now, if the Bible teaches you that, Christian believers, why do you want to go along with it? This is destination is hell. But you say, I don't know when that will be. Neither do you. No one is given that hour, but God himself. And then he passes it over to that angel that you read of in the Revelation, that places one foot on water and one on land, that preachers used to fancy in that. Of course, they didn't get too far from the truth. They used to say that the angel would ask God, how long must I sound, and you make it a little fancier then. I used to hear my father preaching, and he put fancy to it because he didn't know. But today all fancy, our fancy is removed, and the light of the truth must shine so clear that you cannot claim there was a cloud between you and it. This is the little boy that is talking to you now. There is nobody coming behind me but God. I better tell you that.
As he told you. He said, ain't nobody coming behind him but God. Now, either I'm the Lord or I'm a liar. Ain't nothing else. And if I'm a liar, point out my lie. The scripture said, when he, the Spirit of truth, is come, he will guide you into all truth. Well, what is all truth? In the 17th chapter of John, first I need you to answer me a question. What is the Word of God? I didn't hear you. The truth, huh? Sanctify them through thy truth. Thy word is truth. Who been guiding you into all truth other than me? Come on, tell me. I want to know. Did Geno Jennings guide you? What about Louis Farrakhan? All you Trumpers out there, has Donald Trump been guiding you into all truth? No, I want you to understand why what is about to happen to you is happening to you. I need you to understand that, so that you will say just what the book say they will say when the destruction come upon them, or the chastisement come upon them. The only cry will be, surely we were wrongdoers. You took a friend other than me? They will say, oh, would that I had not taken such a one for a friend. Surely he leads me astray from the messenger after he had come to me with plain truth. The truth I teach is so plain that the smartest of devils have to shut their mouth at me. They can't think of nothing to begin an argument with me based on. You know how, let me show you how true what I just said is. Now, how many times have you turned your windshield wipers on and put them on delay and wish that you had been the one that came up with that idea? I didn't hear you. Huh? Well, you know, I mean, some of us don't do that, but I'm talking about to the smarties out there. Just a simple thing like a delay windshield wiper made somebody rich. Huh? What about them stud finders? You can turn your phone, or they got a deal that you can just hold up against the wall and it will show you what's behind the wall. Wiring and that kind of stuff. Ain't that something? Little truths that was revealed to somebody that they shared that you say, why didn't I think of that? Huh? Well, that's the way I am with the Word of God. It's like when I showed you God means grantor of dominion. That's been in front of everybody all the time. How come I'm the only one who understood it? And one of the things that helped me understand it was POTUS. That don't mean every word is an acronym. But the English language is filled with acronyms. It has plenty of acronyms. And that's one of the ways we preserve the truth in it. You see? We speak the wisdom of God in a mystery. You know? If you ask people, what does the word God mean? Then they done gave it all kind of meanings. But the only one true meaning of it is the grantor of dominion. Period. Because that's what the truth does. The truth grants you dominion over whatever is troubling you. If dominion is to be granted. So, when it comes to me, the only thing the truth will demand from you is grant you the ability to bow down. It won't grant you no ability to have dominion over me. I would not be the supreme being if you could gain dominion over me. You see, just think about this. It says, the Son of Man came not to be ministered unto, but to minister. So how do you think you're going to gain dominion over me, and I'm the one taught you what this stuff meant? You see? If I ask you, what else does it mean? Then what you going to say? See? All, you notice, all computers and all programs, they have back doors. You do know that, right? Okay, I ain't no computer whiz, and I know it. What is a back door? And who got that back door? Even the manufacturers of these computers know how to get in your computer. They made them. Did you honestly think they didn't put something in there that they can hit and bypass this, what they call a skeleton key or whatever you want to call it, but it'll get in anybody's computer. Just like Apple could get in anybody's phone. And they had a big stink about that when they was trying to get, the Justice Department was trying to get Apple to go in somebody's phones for them. And I don't know who won. Who finally won that? When it comes to the defense of the United States, if the security of the United States is at stake, I would think that if that is the case, I would think that it's justified to go in that phone. But not on no humbug. It's just like when the Justice Department sought a court order to go into Mar-a-Lago They hadn't found nothing. That shows that they went in there on some kind of humbug. And the minute they start getting search warrants based on a humbug, their credibility is shot. Do you understand? What is it, son?
To answer your question, sir, Apple was originally ordered by a judge to assist the FBI, but when they tried to fight it, the FBI actually found a workaround and no longer needed their access. They found a way to get in themselves.
Well, I know what that was, but I ain't gonna say nothing. But the point is, and I shouldn't have said that, but anyway, the point is, there are always, every rule, sometimes there's an exception to it. There's nothing etched in stone in this universe, except that there's only one God. And even at the end of that statement is, I know of no other. Huh? Just in case. Is that right? You know, you always wanted it just in case. But I don't know of any. So the messenger told you there wasn't nobody coming behind him but God. Has Farrakhan told anybody that he was God? You see? I remember when he was standing up talking about he was the Son of Man. He said, you'll never hear me talk like this again. Well, if you ain't gonna never talk like that no more, then you don't mean it when you say you the Son of Man. Is that right? You see? So, don't think I can't show you these things. Look, you remember the scripture said to me that from a child hast thou known the Holy Scriptures, which is able to make thee wise unto salvation. What is salvation? What is salvation?
Salvation is being brought out of the darkness of falsehood into the light of understanding.
Okay. Salvation is being brought out of falsehood into the light of understanding of the truth. You see how this prosecutor is not just, he didn't just accuse Donald Trump of things. He's bringing evidence to show that what he's accusing him of is true. Do you understand?
I am a stone, all right, folk, not them. Just you. Me. And for them to come with me. And from the weed to post land. And there, one of the little, I was taken to the top of a mountain.
Just a moment.
In a little village going into the ditch. I close this lecture with my experience 17 years ago. Where, from a tiny village in Mexico, in a vision-like experience, I was taken to the top of a mountain in a little village called Tepoztlan. UFOs came by the side of that mountain. I was accompanied by people and I was somewhat afraid, and I tried to get them to come with me. And from the wheel, a voice spoke, not them, just you. I was told to relax and on.
Now, before I let him go up on the beam of light, I want y'all to understand something. In a vision, now there ain't no such thing as a vision-like experience. The scriptures say, if you dream a dream, tell a dream. If you see a vision, tell a vision. When I had the vision of people walking around like zombies, I wasn't alone. It was a sister named Nadine walking with me. And the reason she was with me had to be to explain things to me, what I was looking at. Because I asked her, what's wrong with them? And she said, those are your brothers and sisters who rejected Islam. And then I stopped being angry with them, and I felt sorry for them. And she said, what? I didn't say nothing to her. She said this to me. What? You going back with them? And I said, if that's where I belong. And that's when everything pretty much went back to normal. No one walking with you in a vision is not the person that need to be there, or persons, because Allah will speak to you through them. How many of y'all saw Future Past? You remember when Raven was walking through the airport and Xavier spoke to her through people that was in there with her? He spoke to her through them. Do you understand? And so, you know, Allah had been speaking to me through people for a long time. Not just through her. I remember when I told you I knocked on the door once selling fish. And a brother was sitting in there behind some drums. And he said, you know what that knock sounded like? And I said, what? And he got behind his drums and started, you know, beating on them and, you know, snare drums and stuff. And you could tell could play them. And then he stopped. He said, now, I'm going to form a band, and I'm going to bring them all to you. And I said, you mean you're going to bring them all to the messenger? He said, that's right, I'm going to bring them all to you. And, you know, that was when I was being informed of who I am. Do you understand? And so, now you stand up there talking about some vision-like experience. There's no such thing as a vision-like experience.
Beam of light, I was taken up into this wheel. This wheel is spoken of in the book of Ezekiel. Go read it. The Son of Man that was set down in a valley that was full of bones. The Son of Man that was told, prophesy unto the bones. A Son of Man that was told to warn the preachers, woe to the shepherds. A Son of Man, and I am that Son of Man. Son of Man was told, eat the scroll. I come before you, I need no notes. The notes are already in my belly. The word is sweet in my mouth, but it caused me suffering and pain. But the word must be told. The scripture says, I send you to a hard-hearted, stiff-necked, and rebellious people. Their head is hard, but I have made yours like a flint. I am a stone, all right, but a stone of stumbling. If you fall on me, you'll be broken into pieces. But if I fall on you, you will be ground into powder by the power of the God that has backed me and sent me to mission you and raise you up. When I was taken to that great wheel that is a half a mile by a half a mile, the Bible tells you that everywhere the Son of Man went, the wheel went with him. And I can tell you the wheel has followed me everywhere I go. I am empowered. I am backed by a power bigger than the power of George W. Bush. You can take it or let it alone. This is the end of this world. When I was on that wheel, I heard the voice of Elijah Muhammad, my teacher, whose voice I heard for 20 long years. He spoke to me. He didn't allow me to see his face, but he told me that Reagan had met, he said the president has met with his joint chiefs of staff to plan a war. I want you to hold a press conference and make known his plans and tell them that you got it from me, Elijah Muhammad on the wheel. That man is not dead. He is alive. He is the Jesus that you've been looking for, that escaped death and is now at the right hand of God with power in his hand to destroy this world. You can take it or leave it. But I'm not holding a damn thing back, because after I say what I say to you today, and when you see me do what I'm about to do, then you'll see God do what I tell you God is going to do. Listen, I'm not trying to excite you, but for a long time, I have held my peace. I have never spoken to you about who I think I am or who I know I am. It ain't about thinking no more. I want you to know that I'm born to defeat this enemy with the help and the power of Almighty God alone. We'll get him back for all the hell that he has poured on the black man and woman of America. Now listen. This man has to go to war.
And now he stood up there claiming to be the Son of Man and telling you that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad didn't pass away, after he bore witness that the messenger had passed away. You know, the messenger said one or two words can stop that kind of talk. Tell him, show him to you. I didn't hear you. So ain't no man died and stayed dead for 3 days physically and came back. If you know one that did that, tell him, show him to you. And if you say you've been here before, show us where they buried you at. Do you realize that, you know, if you know the scriptures, people like that can't come to you and lie to you? You know, I was told that they took him off of YouTube because he's a liar. Do you understand? I don't know why they ain't took Donald Trump off of that. You know, these people just stand up and purposely lie to you because that's what you want to hear. You hear all that noise in the background? That's not... What class did you ever have? Just name a class that you had that when the teacher was teaching, you heard people clapping and going on when the teacher was teaching. Just name it. Was you sitting up in there in English and they told you the vowels are A-E-I-O? That's right. That's right. If you know that's right, then he ain't teaching you nothing. I didn't hear you. You only know it's right because you already know it. When people don't already know, they ain't shouting and going on, they're taking notes. Whether it's physical notes or mental notes. That's why the book says Elijah went to heaven, went into the scriptures in a whirlwind. A whirlwind of emotions, because what was Malcolm teaching? Malcolm didn't teach no scriptures. Malcolm taught on that old pale thing. He got up talking about white people. And everybody just hoorahing and going, that's right. Because everybody was scared to talk about it. Everybody black was scared to talk about white people back then. So it made them feel good that that they could actually say something about a white man and wouldn't get in trouble for it. So it was happy. But they wasn't being made righteous. So The Honorable Elijah Muhammad took the worst of us to build a foundation, to show that even in the worst of us, there was hope that we could change. For everybody know that read the history of Malcolm, he confessed that he used to be a drug dealer and a pimp, a hustler. But he stopped doing all of that because of the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And where Malcolm used to be someone who terrorized the black community, he became a defender of the black community. And that's something similar to Saul and Paul. When Saul became Paul, he was a different man. Do you understand? But only Paul didn't deny Jesus. And in the end, Malcolm didn't deny the messenger. He apologized to the messenger. But he had went too far. Remember, a messenger of God can forgive you for disrespect and attacking him. But that don't mean Allah does. You know, just depend on what you did. But he did say, whosoever fall on that stone shall be crushed. It's just like, you notice, as my attention fall on anybody, and I start talking about them, have you noticed that when I start talking about somebody, pretty soon all of their defenders have to shut up? Because I'm grinding them to powder. I'm showing you everything that's in them. Best thing you can do if I say that you are not worthy to be followed or whatnot is shut your mouth. Because I will say enough to prove my point, but I won't say everything that I know how to prove it. Not all of the time, because sometimes when people are not contending with you, you don't have to keep going. But don't ever come in here and tell me that I'm lying on somebody. I wouldn't have said it if I couldn't prove it. So that man, he told people he's the Son of Man, and you hear him answering to that title now? Well, if he ain't answering to it now, it never was his. Is that reasonable? I mean, you ain't doctor for a day. I'm the doctor today. And then you say him 2 weeks from now, you say, hey, doc, and he don't turn around, doc, and he still don't turn around and say, hey, doc, you shake him on the shoulder. He said, who are you talking to? Who are you talking to? Because he done forgot he said he was the doctor. How come he ain't on me for claiming to be what he is? Like I'm on him. And I know why all of y'all following him. You may fool him, you may fool the people that's next to you, but you ain't fooling me. You following him in name only. You doing whatever you want to do. And you putting his name on it so you can hide up under that umbrella. or so you think, that spider's web. But I see you pretending to believe in the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. You don't believe in the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Otherwise, you would believe in me. I'm the one that he said he was raising up. I'm the one in 72 that he said he was expecting pretty soon. Why would he lie and say he's expecting the Lord pretty soon if Farrakhan was the Lord? And what was Farrakhan hanging around him for 20-something years for if he was the Son of Man? The Son of Man didn't come here to be taught by nobody. The Son of Man didn't come here to be ministered to, but to minister. That's why people thought they could take misadvantage of me, because the messenger was gone a year after I got in the nation. A couple of years later, he was gone. I came in 73, 75, he wasn't here no more. So I couldn't know too much. That's what they thought. Because they didn't believe what he said about me. He said Islam is the black man's nature. If something is the nature of somebody, you ain't got to be taught that. All you got to do is, like a fish, throw him in the water and he can swim. Throw me in the scriptures and I can swim. What man have you ever known to be able to correct the Orthodox Muslim world to the point that they don't challenge him, nothing he says, other than me? Any of you all who are outside of this country, in any part of the earth, is it any of you that think that I'm not teaching the true understanding of the Word of God? Both the Holy Bible and the Holy Quran. Come in and tell me what I've taught that's not correct or not accurate. Because if I'm teaching something that's not accurate, I'm not the rightly guided one. Do you know we were so hidden that our people didn't even know where we were? He renamed us Negroes. Nobody familiar with nobody called Negro. People used to think it wasn't no black people in America. You thought the white man was going to go back? You know, I got some of your people over here in bondage here. If you wondering what happened to the builders of the pyramids, I got them over here. He wasn't going to tell you that. He wasn't going to tell nobody that. But he sure told you that black people, slaves, built the White House. Aren't they? Do you honestly think a dumb, if you can just enslave somebody and then make them do stuff, how come he didn't enslave the Native Americans? He conquered them. How come he didn't enslave them? He didn't find them building pyramids and find them building structures and carvings and working with cement and all of that kind of thing. He didn't find them doing that. He found them wearing animal skins and living in tents. When you go to the continent of Africa, you see all types of structures that's in decay, but somebody built those things. And instead of telling you that and telling the truth, that that's who we're the ones who built those things, he tell you that must have been built from somebody who came from Mars or somewhere. That's the lie they be telling on the internet in different places. It's beings from another world. Well, it's true. We was from another world. But that world was imperfect. And that's why it had to go. Do you understand? So, Benjamin Banneker designed Washington. A black man. These people, they enjoy the air conditioner. That was invented by a black man. He loved peanut butter and jelly. Well, who invented peanut? Who showed you how to do peanut? George Washington Carver? A black man. Peanut oil? A black man. Then he want to walk around here talking about his supremacy. He don't dare come in here challenging me on what I'm teaching or claiming that it's not the truth. I'm not saying this to belittle him. I'm saying this to stop him from trying to belittle us. So as I was looking at Lawrence, and he was just telling it like it is. That's why Trump hates him. Trump loves liars because he's a liar. Liars don't love truth tellers. And truth tellers do not love liars, but not for the same reason. Because a truth teller tells the truth hoping that that liar will recognize the truth and become a truth teller also. That's how you determine who's a liar and who is a deceived person. A deceived person believes that a lie is the truth until evidence proves otherwise. Then the one that's deceived is now set free. The truth set them free. Do you understand? That's why we speak the truth. Whenever they let us on Truth Social, we keep, I don't stop trying. Yeah, just like now. We ain't on there, but not because we ain't trying to get on there. They won't let us. I let people come on my broadcast because I'm here with the truth. And when a lie tries to come out in here, I stop it. Like the man who tried to come in here and suggest something false about the vaccines. And I stopped him. And then they want to give me a strike and say that I was putting out bad information. This is wrong. But the truth is, many people that work for a company don't necessarily represent that company or that company's policies. They secretly work against a policy And, you know, that's what that was about. For anyone who saw my broadcast and then tried to say that I was putting out bad information, that's a lie. We put that challenge on there, right? Y'all challenged that strike, right?
They rejected the initial challenge. I'm working on something.
Okay, yeah. That's because that same person that did it is trying to block it. Now, I guess our only recourse is to take them to court. Because, look, you may not like what I say, but until you prove that what I say is not true, I offered you $50,000. If you can prove that what I'm saying is not true, then I owe you $50,000. Not just give me a strike. You're supposed to be trying to collect that money. You know, if you're going to, let me show you why people try to block me from talking about certain subjects. It is because if you cannot bring the lie out and then refute it, the lie is still in power. So now what you telling me, I can't talk about a lie that people been spreading? No, I ain't going for that. No. Mm-mm. So anyway, this is the way you have people in this world. The only thing they can do is like Truth Social. Is Truth Social on the internet?
No, sir.
Are they on YouTube? Or that's a separate?
It's a separate platform.
Okay, so they got their own separate platform. Okay. Well, eventually we're going to have our own. You know, when enough people wake up, then we will have our own platform. And that would be even better. Was there something else?
I'm sorry, sir. I may have misunderstood your question. Brother Michael saying you were asking if Truth Social platform is on the internet. It is. But
No. You told. I understood you. You said it's not on YouTube. It's a separate platform than YouTube. So I understand that. Okay. No, I told you. I listen when y'all talking to me. If you don't answer my question, I'm gonna tell you didn't answer me. Don't ever think that if I'm talking to you, that I'm not paying attention to our conversation. And you better learn to pay attention to your conversations with people too. You better get in that habit. You know, I listen when I'm quiet and you talking, I'm listening. If we in a conversation. And when I'm talking, I expect you to be listening. How many times have you heard me talking to somebody and I ask them a question and they go to talking about something else, and I say, you still didn't answer my question. I wouldn't have known they didn't answer my question if I wasn't listening. But most people in this world, they don't listen when they talking, and they don't listen when somebody's talking to them. That's how people like Donald Trump can be asked a question, and most reporters, when he start answering, he never answers their question, and they say, well, okay, what? Okay? The man didn't say nothing. But, you know, it's because they don't listen. You know, so always listen to people. It's just like in the courtroom when Trump went on and his lawyer went on and on and on, doing what Trump was telling him to do. The judge asked him, well, when are you going to answer the question about this? you know, what he was asked. Let Lawrence finish.
Prosecution presented those 4 new violations in a 10-minute, tight, logical, seemingly irrefutable presentation. The worst of the violations was Donald Trump's comment last week about the jury. Prosecutor Christopher Conroy read it to the judge as the first item he raised. Quote, this is what Donald Trump said. That jury was picked so fast, 95% Democrats. The area is mostly all Democrat. You think of it as just a purely Democrat area. It is a very unfair situation, that I can tell you. The prosecutor then went on to cite other violations of the gag order, which forbids Donald Trump from making any public comments about witnesses. Prosecutors cited Donald Trump's recent comments about Michael Cohen and David Pecker. At 9:42 a.m., when Todd Blanche stood up to defend Donald Trump's apparent violations of the gag order, he rambled on without making a single legal point for 20 minutes and never said a word about the most serious violation, Donald Trump's attack on the jury. When Todd Blanche was trying to defend Donald Trump's comments about witnesses, he said, quote, he can't just say no comment repeatedly when he's running for president. That is, of course, a lie. That is a lawyer telling a lie in a courtroom. It is not just a point of argument. Candidates refuse to comment on issues all the time. No one does it more than Donald Trump. Donald Trump very specifically refused to declare his position on abortion for months and months during the Republican presidential primaries. No politician in our history has refused to answer more questions than Donald Trump, while his mouth is still moving, saying other things in response to the question, usually nonsense and lies, having nothing to do with the question. And just to sink Todd Blanche even deeper into the darkness of his broken professional life, Donald Trump himself proved Todd Blanche was lying at the end of the day. After Donald Trump walked angrily past me into the hallway of the courtroom where he spoke to a pool of reporters there with the cameras rolling, the last question asked of him was, what did he think of the witness who took up most of the trial day today, Keith Davidson? And Donald Trump said, well, I'm not allowed to testify. I'm under a gag order, I guess. I can't testify. Now we're going to be appealing the gag order. I'd love to answer that question. It's a very easy question, the easiest question so far, but I'm not allowed to testify because this is a judge who's totally conflicted. He has me under an unconstitutional gag order. Those were Donald Trump's words. Now, of course, Donald Trump is not a master of the English language. He didn't actually mean testify. He simply meant, I can't answer.
Lawrence, you're giving him too much credit. He did mean testify, because he's trying to try the case in the media. And when he steps out in front of them cameras in the media, he's testifying as far as he's concerned. He's giving his followers, his cult, he's giving them what they want to hear. He's giving his side of it in the media, not in court, but in the court of public opinion. That's where he testifies. Testifies that, because he ain't sworn in or nothing. He ain't got to swear. He telling the truth. And so he can stand up and say any kind of lie he wants in the court of public opinion. Do you understand? What do we say? What do we grow up hearing people say about opinions? Opinions is like you're behind and the hole in it. Everybody got one. Huh? Yeah. So, who brought me this? Who put this up here? It says, it's a bumper sticker, I think. Pursue truth and defend liberty. It's Hillsdale College. Did you all, or was that in that book you gave me? Okay, well, I'm going to put that on my bumper. All right. That's a good slogan. Pursue the truth and defend liberty. If you don't pursue the truth, what does pursuit of truth, what's another way of saying that? It says look carefully into things. Huh? Don't just believe what somebody tell you, but demand proof. Huh? And then take it and arm yourself with it. But don't go out armed with a gun that ain't got no bullets. Do you understand? Somebody trying to give you a statement that they ain't got no proof of, it's like sending you out on the battlefield with a gun that's empty. What's going to happen to you? When you aim at somebody, it ain't going to do you no good, because ain't no bullets in it. Oh.
Because I am under a gag order. Todd Blanche, primaries. No politician in our history has refused to answer more questions than Donald Trump, while his mouth is still moving, saying other things in response to the question, usually nonsense and lies, having nothing to do with the question. And just to sink Todd Blanche even deeper into the darkness of his broken professional life, Donald Trump himself proved Todd Blanche was lying at the end of the day. After Donald Trump walked angrily past me into the hallway of the courtroom where he spoke to a pool of reporters there with the cameras rolling, the last question asked of him was, what did he think of the witness who took up most of the trial day today, Keith Davidson? And Donald Trump said, well, I'm not allowed to testify. I'm under a gag order, I guess. I can't testify. Now we're going to be appealing to the gag order. I'd love to answer that question. It's a very easy question, the easiest question so far, but I'm not allowed to testify because this is a judge who's totally conflicted. He has me under an unconstitutional gag order. Those were Donald Trump's words. Now, of course, Donald Trump is not a master of the English language. He didn't actually mean testify. He simply meant, I can't answer your question because I am under a gag order. Todd Blanche may have learned nothing in the courtroom today, but Donald Trump did. He learned from that hearing how to respond to a question about witnesses in this case, which is to not answer it at all, and if he wants to, cite his gag order, which is exactly what Donald Trump did at the end of the day. Donald Trump's response in the hallway today directly contradicted Todd Blanche, directly destroyed Todd Blanche's credibility, and the principal argument in defense of Donald Trump's violations of the gag order. So a week after the judge tells Todd Blanche he's lost credibility with the judge, how could it get worse for Todd Blanche? Donald Trump found a way to make it worse today. Donald Trump went out in the hallway at the end of the day and in effect ridiculed Todd Blanche's defense of Donald Trump's violations of the gag order. Apparently, Todd Blanche had no intention of even addressing the worst violation of the gag order presented by the prosecutors, which was Donald Trump's comments and attacks against the jury, who he accuses of being 95% Democrat without having any idea how many of those jurors might be Democrats, how many might be Republicans. 12% of Manhattan voted for Donald Trump. Judge Merchan is not an impatient judge. There are some who could accuse him of being too patient. Like this morning, he let Todd Blanche say nothing for over 20 minutes today before the judge finally had to interrupt him and say, can I ask you to address the comments that were made about the jury?
The judge has to be patient if the person that's accused is truly presumed innocent. The person that's innocent the burden of proving that they are innocent is not on them. They already have that presumption. The thing that the innocent person, just like if Donald Trump was truly innocent, he would be his best witness against everybody that takes the stand and says something about him that's not true. Because he knows what kind of conversations he had with people. Do you understand? And he knows conversations that he didn't have with somebody. So, when the person that's making up a lie, when people making up a lie, they ain't gonna be able to tell the same thing every time. You understand? That's why you take depositions. The defense, their best defense is in those depositions. If that person is innocent. Because when you start making up stuff on people, and it just the attorney lets you talk. And a good attorney, he don't even ask you the questions that he really wants the answers to right away. He asks you a lot of questions that have nothing to do with where he's going. And then he drops a real question in there from time to time. Do you understand? So, and the prosecution, the prosecutors, if they are honest, see, they are officers of the court. They're not interested in coaching witnesses. You swear that you telling them the truth. So they call you. And they get your testimony. And they say this is, they ask you, you familiar with this? You know what they ain't coaching you. They're not supposed to be coaching witnesses. How you gonna get justice if you up there telling people what to say on the stand? You want the truth to come out, so you question people that you trust are telling the truth and that know what took place. Then when they get in front of the jury, you're not expecting them to say something different than they told you. If they do, they made it up. And that's what the defense can bring out with a deposition. Because now, see, in trials, there ain't no ambushing. That's why it's called discovery. In order for you to defend yourself, you have to know what's going to be brought out in court. And so the prosecutions, they give you what they tell you what witnesses they gonna call and that kind of thing. And they say that the only witnesses they don't have to give you is people who may have to rebut something that you say that ain't true. And they may be called as a rebuttal witness. You know, at least that's what I got out of what they say happens in court. But their main case, and they call it the case in chief or whatever, everything that the prosecutor is going to present, the defense knows. Now you can build a defense if you have one. Ain't no defense against the truth. The truth is the greatest force in the universe. A lie will not help you against the truth. Do you understand? Okay? That's why people cut deals. But anyway, he didn't cut no deal. He don't admit his guilt. Deny, deflect, and distract. That's his thing. So, everything that he's guilty of, he deflects it and points to somebody else. That's what they do. That's what they do. Okay. And then he starts doing things that don't make no sense to distract you from his last deflection. Do you understand? So you have to deal with him accordingly. So all praise is due to Allah. We like to make sure that what we say is understood. So if he's innocent of those things that people are saying about him, he knows he's innocent. Even if he didn't take the stand, he could give his lawyer something to ask them people. Do you understand? You see? So, the lawyer's going to naturally ask him, did you have that conversation? It don't do no good to lie. Because if you did have that conversation, you should have told me. Huh? But either way, lawyers don't like you lying to them if they representing you. Do you understand? You don't have to lie to him because even if you did it, he can't tell the people that you did it. Then he might ask you, well, what did you do that for? Give me some insight on this. Because if it was an innocent conversation and it's being twisted into something else, then we can deal with that. Do you understand? But when you just lie to your lawyer, you lie to everybody, then you make liars out of everybody. He made a liar out of his reputable lawyer. The judge warned his lawyer, who's following his instructions. You obviously done forgot that you are an officer of the court. Counsel, you are losing your credibility in this courtroom. See, if a judge is listening to your lawyer and decides that the lawyer is just lying about case matter and lying to the court, that ain't going to turn out well for you. Your attorney is doing you a disservice. Once you get in tell you what, go to a bank and be known as a good customer. And then let the bank find out that you've been lying to them about financial matters. You know what happens to you from that point on? It's hard for you to get that credibility back because it comes from the top down. When they meet to discuss your loans, they say, this man is, if any of them officers say, hey, this man did so-and-so and such and so and so, man, we dodged the bullet once. I don't think we better go that way no more. Huh? And they tell them, well, sorry, Mr. Muhammad, Mr. Jones, we're not doing them kind of loans anymore. And they'll figure some way to let him down easy, but they ain't gonna, no matter what he come in there with, they ain't gonna trust him. Because they done found out he don't mind lying to them. Well, ain't you like that? When you discover somebody don't mind lying to you, don't you deal with a long handle spoon from that point on with them? Well, that's what I'm telling you. Don't ruin your reputation with people. Do you understand? You know, be truthful. Now, I'm going to back it up just a little and let Lawrence fill you in on what the judge told Mr. Trump's lawyer. And, you know, he put up with him long enough to, 20 minutes is a long time when you standing up just to answer one question. Huh? And the man wasn't answering the question. He was just filibustering.
Violations of the gag order. So a week after the judge tells Todd Blanche he's lost credibility with the judge, how could it get worse for Todd Blanche? Donald Trump found a way to make it worse today. Donald Trump went out in the hall.
Actually, he told him he's losing his credibility with the court. He didn't say he lost it yet, but he said you are losing your credibility with this court. Do you understand? Okay.
At the end of the day, and in effect ridiculed Todd Blanche's defense of Donald Trump's violations of the gag order. Apparently, Todd Blanche had no intention of even addressing the worst violation of the gag order presented by the prosecutors, which was Donald Trump's comments and attacks against the jury, who he accuses of being 95% Democrat without having any idea how many of those jurors might be Democrats, how many might be Republicans. 12% of Manhattan voted for Donald Trump. Judge Merchan is not an impatient judge. There are some who could accuse him of being too patient. Like this morning, he let Todd Blanche say nothing for over 20 minutes today before the judge finally had to interrupt him and say, "Can I ask you to address the comments that were made about the jury?" Todd Blanche began with the stupidest possible response about the actual words Donald Trump said. Donald Trump told the judge it was a 15-second statement out of an interview that was over 21 minutes long. It doesn't matter if the interview were 5 days long. What matters is what Donald Trump said. Did he violate the order? The judge repeatedly had to ask Todd Blanche, did he violate the gag order? And Todd Blanche actually said, quote, "The gag order specifically references any prospective juror or any juror in this criminal proceeding." So he wasn't referencing juror number 4 is a Democrat, whereupon you could see the judge give up on Todd Blanche. He shook his head, the judge shook his head, smiled in a strained way just a bit. I silently laughed at the preposterous thing that Todd Blanche just said. It was the most preposterous possible answer Todd Blanche could have given. He wasn't talking about juror number 4. You can't find that reaction in the script, the reaction of the room. You can't find the judge's physical reaction to what he heard Todd Blanche say. The transcript is just words, and there is so much that happens in that room beyond the words. In presenting this violation about the jury, the prosecutor said he used his platform there to criticize the seated jury in this case. There is no inference needed. It is not just any jurors. It is these jurors in this case sitting right in this room in a few minutes. And Todd Blanche's disgraceful and guaranteed to lose defense of that violation of the gag order is to actually say Donald Trump didn't specify any one of the jurors. No, he didn't. He specified every one of the jurors, every one of them who filed into that room at the end of that hearing and passed by Donald Trump as fast as they could without looking at him in any way, as if there were an obstacle there that they had to speed past, something dangerous. I have never seen a faster walking jury in my life. A jury who wants to get past by that defendant and get that move past the defendant over and done with as fast as their legs can carry them. It's not unusual for some jurors to take in the room when they enter in other cases. Their eyes sometimes fall on the prosecutor, often on the judge, sometimes on the defendant, frequently smile at the judge. Sometimes there can be small smiles that are flashed around the room by jurors that don't really tell you anything about what they're thinking, but often just show you that a group of people are entering this room with hints of their humanity on display. Not so with the Trump jury when they enter. When they take their places in the jury box, which I had a very full view of in the afternoon, they settle into their roles and all pay very strict attention at all times to what is happening in that room. And it doesn't seem that any of them have likely complained about freezing in the courtroom as Donald Trump has done relentlessly, including one of the middle-aged jurors who was wearing nothing but a t-shirt all day. That's how freezing it wasn't in the courtroom. But as a defendant in the courtroom, every moment must be chilling. Certainly it is for Donald Trump. Donald Trump spent most of his courtroom day listening to someone he has never met. The third broken life on display in the courtroom today, Keith Davidson, a lawyer who even Todd Blanchard can look down on. Keith Davidson's testimony revealed that he makes much or most of his living as a bottom feeder in a cesspool that no law school student has ever aspired to. It was attorney Keith Davidson who negotiated a $130,000 hush money payment to porn star Stormy Daniels to guarantee her silence about her one, according to her, very quick sexual encounter with Donald Trump. Keith Davidson's testimony that he negotiated the $130,000 deal with Michael Cohen is documented in email records, text messages, and voice recording records. There is absolutely no reasonable doubt left in the room that Keith Davidson negotiating that deal on behalf of Stormy Daniels with Michael Cohen. That is the essence of his testimony. That's what it's about. That's why he's a witness. But when your life goes so far off course that you find yourself negotiating hush money payments for porn stars with presidential candidates so that you can help hide the truth about that candidate from voters for a fee of $10,000 that you earn from that transaction. It might not be the only unseemly thing you've been involved with in your life. And so, on cross-examination, much to Donald Trump's delight, I'm sure, but to no relevant point, Donald Trump's other criminal defense lawyer, Emil Bove, tried to expose Keith Davidson's role in trying to arrange hush money payments and successfully arranging hush money payments, in one case allegedly for as much as $2 million, from other famous men, including Hulk Hogan and Charlie Sheen. Keith Davidson was also involved in trafficking information about the treatment of young actress Lindsay Lohan in a rehab facility. This testimony from this person who has sullied his law degree took place in a building filled with honorable lawyers working for government salaries or for public defender wages who every day make the law a noble calling. But every courthouse has the other kind of lawyers, the worst kind of lawyers, passing through those courthouses every day too. And with every bit of dirt that Keith Davidson revealed about himself and every bit of dirt that was thrown at him by Donald Trump's lawyer, what really mattered in that room is that the oldest person in the room, sitting under a crown of blonde hair at the defense table, lived his life in such a way that his future was in the hands of Keith Davidson in October of 2016. When he was asking the people of the United States of America to make him the next president. I was sitting in the front row of the reporters section of the courtroom, which is actually the third row of spectator seats. The first row is...
Now, it's something that everybody should remember about this. The hush money payment itself was not illegal. But not disclosing the payment and what it was for was illegal. Do you understand? He made the payment, is what he's being accused of, is making the hush money payment and declaring it to be an expense other than that, to his attorney. He was paying his attorney's salary or whatever, when that's not what it was. And it was done to keep some information from coming out during the time of election, to trick the American people into voting for him for president. Do you understand? And so it said he was defrauding the American people. I mean, he didn't even have to make the hush money payment if it didn't mean nothing to him. But he had already, the Access Hollywood tape had sent his campaign on a downward spiral. And he was trying to recover from that. Now you got them two women. That would have sunk it. And so he trying to say that he was trying to protect Melania. No, he wasn't. he was, that was his last word. Hey, I'll show you what. Melania and none of his children is in the courtroom with him. And she still didn't show up. Your boy, one of his sons showed up, and who else? Which one of the few of his people showed up, but not her. I mean, you hardly ever saw her with him. So I don't know what kind of marriage that may have been, but that's neither here nor there. But he knew that election was sunk if that information had come out. And so he paid him. And then declared that it wasn't. He didn't know nothing about it. When he was asked, do you know anything about some money paid to Stormy Daniels? Well, he said, I don't know. No, you have to ask my lawyer. Talk to him. But he said he didn't know nothing about it. We saw him saying that. He did know everything about it. Just like what Hope Hicks said about him today. Hope Hicks said that he managed everything. He was a multitasker. And that's the one thing that a good leader knows, that multitasking is dangerous. That's why they find qualified people and delegate things to them to get done, so that they can, concentrate on other things. Do you understand? If you think you can do every job, and you may be able to do every job in your circle, but most of the jobs that you do gonna be half done. Do you understand? You need to be able to delegate authority. You need to find qualified people and put them in positions. That's why monarchies don't work. Monarchies, if you look at it, you've had them, but what monarchy do you know of that ended successfully? Name one. Now that an alternative has been found called democracy and democratic republic, monarchies are dying. Monarchy is another word for dictatorship. In Islam, there is no king but Allah. In other words, in a democracy, there's no king but the law. The Constitution is the king. And everybody that is elected to power takes an oath to uphold, defend, and defend the Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic. What is an enemy to the Constitution? Anyone who will not abide by it, which means you have to defend it even against yourself. It's like me, the Word of God has to be king even when it's against me. If it is not, then I'm lying when I say, "Oh Allah, thou art the king. I know of no God but thee. Thou art my Lord. You are the Lord of lords. Allah is the Lord of lords." See? So, this is, I listen to people, and I'm careful to listen because I can't fight the truth. I don't know of nobody who can. And you can fight, but you won't win. Even the devil, he made a song. It's called The Impossible Dream. He said to dream the impossible dream. That's what the devil was made to do, to fight God, if he could. Fight the one that the word is with. So every messenger had to be tested by the devil. Huh? And if the devil could trick him, well then, yonder he go. For God spared not angels, but cast angels into hell that disobeyed him. Do you understand? Okay. Now, I want you to hear something else that I found online today.
Hello and welcome to our special, New York versus Donald Trump. I'm Ari Melbourne. We have breakdowns on this entire riveting week of testimony, including Friday's emotional moments for a longtime Trump aide, Hope Hicks, on the stand. This is one of those weeks that really showed how prosecutors are proving up this case, putting forward Stormy Daniels and Karen McDougal's lawyer, Keith Davidson, earlier in the week, all to confirm a very damning story that we've heard will come from Michael Cohen. But they've done it this way to confirm it for the jury before they ever hear from Cohen. And then corroborating all that with what we've told you about, the receipts, the checks, the contracts, and then ending this week with a rare view inside Donald Trump's uppermost senior aides and brain trust. Longtime Trump aide Hope Hicks taking the stand Friday and bringing jurors and the rest of us into these secret meetings and discussions as the Access Hollywood tape broke, as Trump and aides assessed its damage. Hope Hicks, you see there with Donald Trump, that is a coveted post in any campaign, and especially in his, someone who is up on the stage and in his ear and on the plane, and that is the role she had. So this was important testimony, including the deals to silence these women. It matters because this is reliable testimony from a longtime Trump loyalist. So that's hard for the jury to just ignore. It is also from a person, as a witness, who has clearly decided to cooperate with these kind of probes, to testify under oath, that that's the better course for Ms. Hicks. I want to mention that she did that today, but we had some context leading up to Friday's testimony because she did that in testifying about January 6th In that high-stakes probe, there she was, you may remember, she cooperated. She discussed what she knew under oath. She talked to investigators. She even discussed her own private text on that day, January 6th, where she told others she was so upset, quote, everything we worked for wiped away. What you see on the screen is the way we experience different probes. January 6th, they had the cameras on, and we saw her actually talking. Under New York law, it's transparent. We have the sketches, but we don't have video cameras in court. But both times, to be clear, Hicks was a key witness. She is cooperating. And that itself has led to this reported falling out with Trump, now the defendant. And she said she was nervous today from the stand. She answered the questions, confirming she's under subpoena, she's paying for her own lawyer. And in a moment that does matter for a jury, this is still a human exercise, Hope Hicks broke down crying on the stand at one point. She was seen there crying. This was reported and discussed. It was apparently, best we can tell, and from the reporters in the room and the wider context we have, a genuine display of emotion for her as she felt the weight of this moment, the raw pressure of testifying about her longtime boss, who stood, or I should say stood by, or physically, literally sat through her entire testimony, watching her. And maybe the details were tough for her to share in this manner. Remember, Hicks went from a close aide in the Trump business to that position of campaign press secretary, a key post for a candidate obsessed with press. And while Trump has had his famous falling outs with many different aides, a lot of people didn't last through the first year of the administration, for example, she kept his trust. She eventually became White House communications director. She witnessed every Trump scandal, as the Washington Post put it, and her testimony here this week hurt Trump when she said that he had his hand in everything, that he was very involved, we were all just following his lead, as she discussed the priorities of the campaign and communications. Now, why does that matter? The point isn't whether he's some apprentice-style boss or not. It's a much narrower point for the jury. It undercuts one of the Trump defenses that I've told you about.
That's what she was crying about. That she, more than likely, what she was crying about was how she was testifying to something that made her look so stupid to be following the lead of a man like him. Do you understand? How many of his, like John Kelly, what that other fella, Pompeo, Mike Pompeo, you know all of them called him an idiot? What does it make you to be following someone that's considered to be an idiot? Wouldn't you cry too? Because it made her look bad sitting up there. When she thought about it, you know how you say, how could I have been so stupid? Like them people who followed Jim Jones. And people have been trying to tell them, you don't want to follow that man. They wouldn't listen, would they? Next thing you know, they drinking poison Kool-Aid. And if they wouldn't drink it, they shot the stuff into them. Gave him injections. He didn't take none. According to them, he shot himself. But made them take cyanide. Whenever you claim to be going someplace to hear the word of God, and you know that ain't nobody, if you ask them what is the word of God, very few people will say something other than truth. Well, why would you check your intelligence at the door and leave your intelligence at the door like a coat or something, instead of taking your intelligence in there to listen to the truth? But instead, people, many people, not a few people, many people, when they go in churches and in mosques and in synagogues and in all these places that claim to be represent houses of God, houses of truth. They leave whatever truth they know on the outside. When they walk in there ready not to hear truth, but ready to be programmed. They actually stop thinking. And then when you say, well, why you don't question? You don't question God. You just believe. You just believe. Well, how you going to believe if you don't understand? Huh? Okay. Well, look at this.
He's entitled to his defenses, but one of them is, hey, I was out of the loop, I'm busy, I'm running for president, other people are getting the stuff done. Well, this is Hope Hicks. This is not just nobody. And she's saying pretty much the opposite. He was hands-on, he set the lead, they followed. She also confirmed about what we heard from another witness this week, that Ronna Graff, the Trump assistant, was basically crucial. So that is corroboration. If the Trump attorneys get up and say, oh, who's this, who's that? Well, the jury's got Hope Hicks. They got the evidence. They see how senior a position she held, and she's the one corroborating these others. In another blow to Trump's efforts to find some sort of distance from the Inquirer, Hicks also confirmed with her own eyewitness account that she'd seen and heard Trump talking to the Inquirer chief, David Pecker, who was the witness earlier. Trump congratulating him on a phone call after the tabloid went after then Trump rival Ben Carson. Here's what's interesting about that. At the time in the room, she knows more than most people, but she might have still thought that Trump was just working the press like usual. You call the Inquirer one day, you call Fox the next. Now, however, the jury is hearing this wider testimony and understanding this as a potential confirmation of how the tabloid was carrying out Donald Trump's campaign edicts. This wasn't like calling someone and discussing them doing their independent reporting where you might share ideas and facts or a quote and then see what they report. This was, according to the DA, more like him calling someone who was operating publicly, commercially, sort of financially as an arm of the campaign, but doing it off the books. That's part of the crime the DA is trying to prove and why the Hicks testimony, combined with what we heard this week, was so significant. I'll tell you, there's more. Hope Hicks also took the jury inside Trump world in a very unusual way. In the very private, panic moments when the campaign was rocked by the video you see on your screen, the bombshell Access Hollywood tape. Remember, nobody knew this thing existed at the upper echelon of the campaign, except for maybe Donald Trump might or might not remember what he said. And this isn't just any witness, as I emphasized. Prosecutors determined Hicks was actually the first person to bring the news of this impending video bombshell inside the campaign to the campaign manager to Trump. And again, you and I might remember Hope Hicks. Part of the jury might not. Not everyone memorizes every aide on every White House or campaign staff. But boy, are you going to think she's important if you determine that when the Washington Post had this bombshell, the person they went to, who they knew was a top aide, who would get right to Trump and the other leaders, wasn't the campaign manager, wasn't some other friend or family member. They went to Hope Hicks, the Washington Post reporter, contacting Hicks with this impending bombshell scoop and a deadline for any campaign response they wanted to give. She rushed it to the campaign leadership. There was a palpable panic, and she testifies how the initial response was, well, you need to hear the tape to be sure, but, quote, deny, deny, deny. And she recounted how candidate Trump privately knew this was going to be a massive story. She said this was a crisis. Now, take that in and say, okay, what are we talking about? We doing campaign memories? Are we doing one of these documentaries where you go back and look at an old campaign? No. The point is not that Hope Hicks has fascinating and sometimes never before heard details about that pivotal campaign moment, although she does have those. The point is that she was eyewitness to Donald Trump's apparent motivation, which the prosecutors say is now part of the criminal intent in what they have indicted as this cover-up and campaign felony. Hicks testifying that Trump saw all of this as chiefly a problem for the campaign. I'm going to read to you this key passage. Sometimes the key passages are just someone saying yes or no. Prosecutor says Trump was concerned these reports could hurt his standing with voters. Hope Hicks says, quote, yes. So that's some of the strong testimony the jury heard here to end this week. And a lot of folks probably remember where you were when you first heard about this tape. And its raw admission of grabbing women by the... And you might remember the fallout. Hicks recounting that very intense period, describing to the jury how it dominated coverage, leading up to the next big moment, which is the presidential debate. This was back with Clinton and Trump when a lot of people thought Trump was already down. This was a body blow like no other. This is legally relevant to whether Donald Trump was, as his lawyers have suggested, either not involved, didn't know what was going on, or to the extent he was involved, it was like a personal thing, or was it a campaign thing? And so we've put together, in the context of our reporting, beyond just what Ms. Hicks said today, some of that explosive period in the campaign homestretch.
Donald Trump's presidential campaign in turmoil tonight, facing withering political fallout.
House Speaker Paul Ryan released this statement canceling Trump's event. I am sickened by what I heard today.
Former Republican presidential nominee Senator John McCain pulled his endorsement.
When the tape comes out, he drops from 41 to 38. Then on the weekend, after everybody's seen the tape, he falls through the floor. That's why they are driving the Republican Party and Donald Trump off a cliff and into the political abyss.
Mitch McConnell called Trump's comments repugnant and unacceptable.
You do not recover from it. This election ended. All I can say is I am sorry.
Now, it didn't end, but that was the mood. Republicans did turn on Trump in that 2016 homestretch. That kind of reaction might be a little bit politically unrecognizable today. In the last few years, we've seen entire crimes and convicted sedition and insurrection dismissed by Republican Party leaders. Reminder of how much has changed once Trump did get out from under that October scandal to go on to win the Electoral College. This all matters in the trial because it speaks to the campaign motivations that I keep mentioning to you. And Hicks was damning on that point, telling the jury that Republicans who ran Congress or had the nomination in past cycles had particularly sharply worded statements against Trump over this issue, over what he said on the tape and whether that's how he dealt with women. She mentioned, for example, Romney, Paul Ryan, Mitch McConnell. Prosecutors view Hicks' accounting as key to what they're still trying to prove to the jury, why Donald Trump would, in October, take such extreme, they allege, criminal acts in the campaign's waning weeks. He was losing party leaders. His whole campaign was panicked. His own top loyal aides saw the problem. He was losing the narrative. He was losing the press, a lot of the mainstream press. And while Trump still thought, and by the way, let's be clear, politically this was true, he thought at the time that he did have a narrow path left to the Electoral College and to winning, he also perceived that one more story or allegation that linked up with this tape scandal would certainly do him in. The guy who has all this bluster in public, a guy who never admits to losing in private, well, according to his own aides under oath, he's a bit of a different guy. Might be why he's effective. Got to remember when you're dealing with someone like this that they do play different roles. And in private, he thought, yeah, I'm losing for sure and I'm toast if one of these stories comes out. That, prosecutors say, is how he and his campaign leadership viewed the Stormy Daniels and Karen McDougal stories. Hicks confirming the DA's argument with evidence, with her eyewitness testimony, that Michael Cohen and the Inquirer had to bury both those stories and do it as a campaign plot for Trump to keep that narrow path even possibly open. Hicks asking Michael Cohen, for example, to get the tabloid publisher's number on November 5th. Remember I told you about the receipts? Doesn't matter what the jury thinks of either the two people in this communication or even what they're doing. What matters is whether they think people have told the truth and what they've said about what happened matches the other documentation. And this is bad news for Trump because these texts are in the evidence for the jury. And this is as good a confirmation as you can get in writing between key people who were both Trump loyalists at the time, going back to the tabloid chief, David Peck. Hicks testifying, she asked because Trump wanted to speak with him, and so she connected the two of them. But she did more than that. She also connected the dots. If this sounds like it's bad and damning evidence against Donald Trump, it is. I would remind you that just because it sounds bad doesn't mean the story's over or he's guilty. He is legally presumed innocent, and they have to use the high bar of beyond a reasonable doubt for 12 people. So if they convince 10 or 11 people that everything you just heard really did happen and it amounts to this crime and it was this cover-up, that's not good enough. They need all 12. I say that to say that when we follow this case, as we do in our specials, we're not looking at it as a jump ball. We're not saying, is it more likely than not? We are really looking at whether the DA is carrying that burden and how this evidence may play with this jury. But they certainly seem to have moved the ball this week. We have Melissa Murray and Andrew Weissman as part of our special, leading us off, and we're back in 90 seconds.
I have moderate to severe.
He said something along the lines of, nobody will care about my legacy if I lose.
Trump aide Hope Hicks, that's what she looks like testifying under oath. That was in a different proceeding where we had cameras, the Jan 6 probe in Congress. We're now joined by our lawyers for this special, Melissa Murray and Andrew White.
So I'm not going to rehash the whole thing. Y'all got same access I do. But, the truth eventually going to find its way out. That's the very nature of matter steadily changing forms. In this case, subject matter is steadily changing forums, and it works its way out. If you are a patriotic citizen, which means you love your country, and you discover that you have been duped into helping someone try to destroy your government, and unwittingly you were made a party in it, you can imagine how dumb and used or misused you would feel. Huh? Especially when you was looking up to somebody that other people tried to tell you you don't want to go there. What was that girl that said you're going to be on your knees to Donald Trump, Manigault? Omarosa? You remember in the end, she told everybody Donald Trump is a racist and a bigot and people, it's like with anybody, including me. People that ain't around you all of the time, they don't know you. Huh? But when you get around somebody, eventually you're going to see the real person. You can fool some of the people all of the time. Let me see. You can fool some of the people. You can fool all of the people some of the time, and some of the people all the time. But you can't fool all the people all the time. Do you understand? And so, if, for instance, look how long the Honorable Elijah Muhammad was here working among us. And even his detractors that went out wind up having to apologize to him. Malcolm, he wrote a letter apologizing to the messenger. They made a tape of it. But people, when you analyze everything that he gave us and did for us, you know, even when they was, you know, just saying hateful things about him, like these people that know you didn't know no better, trying to accuse Prophet Muhammad of being a pedophile because he married a 14-year-old girl. These people's history show that their forefathers was marrying 10-year-old girls. What is that? It was just something to prey on your ignorant mind. Do you understand? So you don't find in the Honorable Elijah Muhammad's history anything but that. If you look at his works, he loved us. For better or for worse, he loved us. And he spent his whole life proving it. And what that song said, may the works I've done speak for me. So I had him as my example. And since 1973, I've been true to what I said I believed. And I ain't ashamed of none of it. I certainly am not. So you go back and you say whatever you want about me, because you know I ain't did nothing that I have to feel shame for. You know, the only thing that I have any regrets about is if you stumbled over me because you wasn't as wise as you should have been in order not to stumble. Because I don't do nothing Allah ain't permitted me to do. So, matter of fact, he said, who will lay anything to the charge of his elect? If he say the earth is the Lord's, the fullness thereof, the world, and they that dwell therein, well, if everything is mine, how am I offending when I do what I please with what's mine? Just tell me, and I'm satisfied. Don't you know if you walk into a courtroom and it's not under the jurisdiction of that judge, he can't judge you? You do know that, right? If something happened in Jefferson County, you know, the trial have to take place where that judge has jurisdiction. If I don't have jurisdiction over the whole earth, then how am I going to judge the whole earth? What did the messenger tell you? He told you that. People just didn't understand what they was hearing, but he sure told them. Here it is right here. I'll let you hear it, and then I'm gonna let you go. Cause you know, I know you tired. I know you be tired. Y'all be working. I sit down sometime, and before I'm sit down 5 minutes, I'm asleep. so especially if I done ate something. So I know how it is, but I'm not gonna hold you. I just want you to remember this. Just give me a minute. Let me put this back on here.
I have been among you, sounding this kind of a trumpet. So there was an end to Noah sounding his trumpet in his day and time. There was an end to these are the first trumpets that sound, called the easy sound, because they're coming from man's mouth. The other trumpet is not heard directly from the mouth. It passes through some mechanical instrument. That's the kind of trumpet I'm warning you to be aware of. They are lifting it up now. Don't forget that you are in the time that has been kept hidden from you by the enemy of the time.
How did he keep my day and time hidden? Was he took over religion. And he made you to think that the Lord had already come. So that if you thought the Lord had already come, then when the Lord show up, you will call the Lord a liar. If I'm not the Lord, why ain't the white man coming in here telling me I'm not? You used to hear some of them do that till they found out what the consequences of it was. You see, he's just being held to account on how he acted. When it was his turn to rule, he did what he pleased to people who came in there, call themselves bucking against him. Jesus and all of the prophets were sent. He killed some of them. He did, and he told them, what did he say to Jesus? What are you doing here to come here to torment us before the time? Is that what he said? You better not come in here talking crazy to me. I'm not going to hear it from him, and I ain't going to take it from nobody else. Now, if you want to question me, you're welcome to do that. But don't get found in contempt. You've been lied to so much about the Lord. Well, I have to make allowance for that, which means I have to let you question me and to qualify or show you my credentials. The book says, Allah, he it is who sent his messenger with the guidance and the religion of truth, the religion of the scripture, that he may make it prevail over the religions, all of them. The Bible says, in righteousness he doth judge and make war. I have attacked all religions and told you that they are all false, but mine. And nobody has offered a word of contradiction against that. So how can you sit there and or wherever you sit listening to me and doubt that I'm the one that the Holy Quran was talking about? Even the brother brought it to my attention. I think it was Brother Lyndon in Canada. He said the Prophet Muhammad said that the Mahdi would have a mole on his right cheek. And I was looking at it and it, you know, I didn't like it. I never thought about it though. Just to find out that that was even prophesied. So you ain't got no, you got no excuse. If you don't believe, then you don't believe. O disbeliever, I serve not that which you serve, nor do you serve him whom I serve. Because I'm the only one who can introduce you to the Lord of the worlds. Because I'm the only one who knows him. And if I hadn't told you that Allah is the truth, you would never have known it. Even though the book's been telling you that all through it. The Word was with God, and the Word was God. But if it's written in a way that you have to fill in the blanks, you never could have filled in the blanks. The Word was with God, and the Word was God's God. It's just that simple. Why? A Muslim's word is bond, and bond is life. And before my word shall fail, I will give my life, and that word will still be God. Do you understand? Because, the one thing that makes you understand that God is the truth is that the one thing that's impossible for God to do is lie. Then you know that the scripture says, let God be true and every man be a liar. I didn't hear? Let God be the truth and every man that says something contrary is a liar. You see? So it's just that simple. So I'm going to let you go. Unless somebody, yes, what is it?
Yes, sir. Someone with the screen named Muslim Nation says if Jacob's name was changed to Israel, there is no way that they were Israelites before that.
Well, you ain't gonna get no argument out of me. I mean, Jacob's name was changed to Israel because Jacob is the one that made the nation of white people and brown people and yellow people. All of them are Jacob's children, Jacob's sons. The lights that Jacob made, and they were all natural. They have natural knowledge, and they collectively have gained dominion over the whole earth and every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth. You notice even these here, when that COVID-19 virus hit, they were already experimenting according to what they told us over there in Wuhan in China, and it got loose, and so they shared they call it genome or something like that with it. They shared it with the rest of the world, and all of the scientists that knew how to study genes, they went to work on getting a vaccine. You see, because that's a terrible. That virus is terrible. Not to mention them other ones that's up there. So it's frightening to think about. But the book does say there shall be famines and pestilences. Pestilences are viruses, pandemics. You see, and so we thank Allah. But if you want to study that a little bit more, get some verification of what I just said to the brother that just left that, you go to the 3rd chapter of Malachi, and it says, "For I am the Lord, and I change not. Therefore, ye sons of Jacob," the sons of Jacob are the young races of people, "you are not yet consumed." You see, there was a prophecy that when the man of sin is revealed, then it says, "Then shall that wicked one be revealed, whom the Lord shall consume with the spirit of his mouth, with the words of his mouth, and shall destroy with the brightness or understanding that he brings when he comes. Do you understand? You notice, you can't even get nobody to come in here and try to defend the religion when I'm speaking. Because they know that they made it up. All they worship is female divinities. Divinities or religions that they made up, came out of them, didn't come from God. That's why you can't find none of them in the Word of God but me. Entire submission to the will of God. That has always been and will always be the right religion. Entire submission to the truth. Anything else?
No, sir.
Okay. So, you know, when you start talking about Israelites and Semitic people, let's just play on words. You know, everybody has been under the mind of Jacob for the past 6,000 years. And now that mind has reached its end to have dominion over us. That's why, and proof of it is that with what you have been taught, I don't care what your status is, you can be a physicist or you can be a hobo. You ain't never going to be able to come in here and win an argument against me if I decide to argue about something. Even what you told us about objects in motion and objects at rest, I corrected that. You know, the knowledge that you have is finite. The knowledge that I have is infinite. And anything that I want to know about, I can sit down and listen to you talk about it, and I can teach you about it, things that was right there in front of you in it that you couldn't see. So, there's lots of things that we're going to be doing together once you realize who it is that's standing here talking to you. All right. So if no more questions, then let's put a pin in it right there. And may Allah bless us, keep us all safe, and in our right minds. When the mind go, what profiteth a man to gain the world and lose his mind? All right. May Allah's Salam alaikum.
Conference recording stopped.